Chattin with Jackson is brought to you by Jalen Media and HPV Studios.
And going back to the start, I know you said like when you go on set, like you look at these actors and you see exactly like this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be. You know, when you come onto sets, you see these people that are in character. And correct me if I'm wrong, you've a history with like, you know, cosplay and making these costumes and going and being these characters for a day. Do you feel like it stems from like a childhood thing where like you idolize these characters and like now one day you hopefully will be that character for someone that they're like, I want to cosplay as, you know, Adam Clarke.
Oh, absolutely. Like that, even the thought of that is just, it's so cool. Like for me growing up, Lord of the Rings was massive. It was massive in my house. It was always on. I'd watch it 7 times a day. I'm like, gosh, Lord of the Rings again. Yes, it is. But like, there's so many iconic things that like looking back at it now, I know, okay, that was a stuntman that did that. But that's an iconic thing in my head that like everybody remembers like, you know, a certain arc or a certain scene, or you know what I mean. And to me, a kid could be watching some of the stuff that I do and seeing that, and that to me is like, that's the coolest thing in the world.
Oh yeah, touching on that, you've been set on fire multiple times, haven't you?
I've been set on fire multiple times. Lucky enough to train with Hank Stunts, and he is just a master on fire. He knows everything about fire.
The shots you got were absolutely insane. Like I literally was like, don't get me wrong, like obviously me and Adam, we don't get to talk as much as we would like to, just for busy lives, but I was like, hadn't seen him in months, and out of nowhere, like I just see a video on Instagram of you just literally being set on fire running around this room, and I was like, do you know what, go you. Like, some people get new jobs, some people go off and buy a new car. Adam gets set on fire. I absolutely love that. You say you could get working anywhere in America, where would be the dream spot to live?
Oh, it has to be either LA or New York. I just want to live in like a Grand Theft Auto game. I just want to be walking around like, I drive a car into a pole here. You know what I mean? Like that's the dream. Like, but all over America. I said when I wanted to go to America, I wanted to start off in New York, go down to the south, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, New Orleans, go up through California, Las Vegas, lose all my money.
The little eyes lose all my money.
And then end up in LA.
Actually, I never even thought of that. Like you see a lot of like, you know, like Valhalla, House of Dragon, Game of Thrones. A lot of these stuntmen falling off horses. Like, is there a mat at the bottom, or is like sometimes they just gotta make that fall work?
When we were fighting and we're taking these falls, we're normally padded up. So we'll have pads on, we'll have elbow pads, we'll have a back pad, so we can take the falls without killing ourselves. Still hurts, but it saves us a little bit, so we can do that all day. The thing about it is, you want to be able to come up, show up to work, and be able to come back the next day and do the exact same thing, give the same amount of effort. So it's about keeping yourself safe. But in terms of horse stunts, I have a lot of respect for it. If you're taking big falls off horses, most of the time you'll bury a mat. So you'll dig up the ground and you'll bury a mat underneath there.
Okay.
Or you'll also have pads on, but you see, that's when you're bringing another equation into it. If you're taking a fall and you're falling off something, it's just you that's in that equation. When you're taking a fall off a horse, you have the horse to worry about. Your job is to make sure the horse is in the right position when you're falling off as well. So that's why I respect that so much. It's a very, very dangerous thing. You need to know what you're doing.
So the mats are buried underneath the ground sometimes, but like, it's just, again, like to have the confidence to, one, be on a live horse, and two, trust that the horse is not going to run off, not going to throw you backwards, and then just fall onto the ground and hope you land on the right spot. Like it's just madness. So do you think like professional wrestling would ever be like an option down the line for you to develop this character, develop this persona, you know, kind of take over the country with? Because you have that Roman Reigns fucking stature to you, you know. I look at you and I see it's the same kind of like, you know, I know who I am and I'm confident in who I am. And I don't think there's a lot of Irish people like that out there at the minute that can really, you know, sometimes you have to hoot for yourself sometimes. And I know that sounds really, hoot was probably not the best word for it, but you have to toot your own horse sometimes, you know? I think people are scared to, whereas like, I see your character being the most confident folk that I'd be like, I like him because he knows exactly what he wants. Sure. You know?
I mean, look, when I was doing it, there was a point where I had to choose one or the other. I had to choose stunts or I had to choose wrestling. I was training 4 days a week doing stunts, or 4 days a week doing wrestling, and then I was training some of those days. It would clash with stunt training as well, and I would have to. And they were, by the way, both of those schools were right next door to each other. It was literally, so I couldn't hide from one. If I was going to wrestling, or if I was going to stunt training, I'd have to walk past wrestling.
You feel like you're cheating on your barber, you know, when you go to the middle.
Man, it was bad, and it's because it's like I love both. But in the end I chose stunts, and like
was there a significant difference as to why? Or
like stunts is more something that I'd have my heart set on, like, I love wrestling. I've watched wrestling since I was a kid as well. Like, I'm a major fan of it. But the payoff for me in stunts was a lot quicker. Wrestling, you have to be doing it for years. There's a lot to learn. There's so much to learn. You need to build your way up. You need to give 100%. You need to be so passionate. And for me, I had that more for stunts than I did for it, and I had more going for me. I could do that quicker. But of course, if I get to a certain stage where I'm financially secure and everything realigns, I'd love to go back into do professional wrestling, because it is something, like you said. I had all these things in my head, all these imaginations for my character in my head when we were doing this, and I didn't get to see it through. And like you said before, if I say I want to do something, I'm gonna do it.
We're gonna do it, yeah.
And yeah, that I don't think that book's closed yet.